Hey everyone, welcome back to the next video. Today we're going to tie ourselves a Klinkhammer. It's one of my favorite flies to tie and to fish. It imitates a mayfly emerger. So we're going to start with the Daiichi 1160 hook in a size 12 today. I really like this fly, floats low in the water, and it just seems to catch fish. I'm using the Uni Thread 6/0 black. Nice thing about this, you can use whatever thread color you want to use. I'm just choosing black for this one, so it's easy to see. So we start putting our thread on, just maybe a hook width back, or an eye width back from the eye of the hook here. Turn our thread on, trim off the excess. Start with a nice little base here. Now we're going to add our post using the Parapost white wing material. This, I'm going to double this over. I tied one earlier in the day and I just found the single strand was a little bit too thin, so I've doubled this over. You'll see here when I tie this on, I'm going to trim some off here. So just a couple nice tight wraps there to secure to the thread, and then pull back, and a couple wraps on the eye side of the post to help stand it up. You can see in the back here, you can see where it's doubled over on the bend side. So because I've doubled it over, I'm going to remove some of this material, about half of it. So it's the normal, it was the normal width if you just choose one. Now I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to cut this material on a bit of an angle, and that way when we wrap our thread to our hook, we're going to create a bit of a tapered body on the way back to the hook bend. So nice touching wraps the whole way down the bend of the hook. Then when you dub up, when we dub back up the hook, we have a nice tapered body that looks more natural than just a straight non-tapered body. I'm also going to do something a little bit different here. I'm going to create a little bit of a loop down here at the bottom. This is a little bit different. This is not necessary. I'm actually just kind of fooling around with this tie to see how this works, but you're gonna see I'm gonna trim this off, and I'm actually gonna create a rib with the thread. So instead of using wire to create a rib, I'm just gonna use thread to create a rib. It doesn't add any more extra weight, and it just makes the body look a little bit more segmented. So using some Adams Gray dubbing here. So remember, when we're dubbing, we're going to add very small amounts at a time. We don't want to overdo it. It's much easier to add dubbing than it is to take it away. So you can change the color of this fly, the Klinkhammer, whatever you want to put on. I decided to go with just a good Adams Gray, just for ease on this tie. But you can do anything. Mayflies come in a bunch of different colors, so can your Klinkhammers. So we're going to dub back up the body. We're going to be doing touching wraps of dubbing the whole way back up. So now we're going to take that thread and we are going to counter wrap it just like a rib on a nymph or whatever, and it's just going to make a little segmented body. You guys, if you want to try this, try it. If you don't, that's fine. This is a step you definitely don't have to put in. I'm watching this video over while I'm doing the voiceover, and I've noticed that I've dubbed a little bit too close to the post. I should have left myself a little bit more room. Right. So we'll just tie that thread off, and we got a little bit of a segmented body there. Trim that out. So I'm gonna have my hackle here. I've decided to put 2 hackle feathers in. You can just do 1, you can do 2. It's up to you. I just thought I'd throw 2 in here. A little bit of a, like I said in some of my other videos, I like my flies a little bit heavier dressed. So we're just gonna peel off a couple of the fibers, give ourselves a nice tie-in point here. Going shiny side down. And we're gonna tie this in just in front of the post. Couple wraps. I'm gonna grab my second feather, clean it up, and the same thing, shiny side down. A couple of nice tight wraps real close to the hook. Now, if you get these nice tight wraps, it'll help as you work your way up the post here. So you can see I have my bobbin upside down, thread is up top, and around we go. You can see I have a nice wrapped post here. Should provide me some stiffness for when I want to hackle this fly. So I now have 3 pieces of peacock herl. I'm going to attach this in behind the post, a couple wraps. Got a couple of the post fibers in there. I'm going to clean them up. And we're just going to wrap this peacock herl forward up to the eye of the hook. Couple wraps to tie that off. I'm going to clean this off, or clip this off, clean it up. So I'm going to whip finish this fly here now, and then some people would hackle this fly in this position. I like to whip finish and then retie my thread in on the post. You'll see here. I'm going to trim the thread and I'm going to reposition my fly here. So I've repositioned my fly. I'm now going to reattach some more thread onto the post. Anytime I tie a parachute, this is just the way I like to do it. You can do it with the fly in the standard way. I've just tried this once and it worked quite well for me, so I've continued this on. Pretty simple, just attach your thread to the post, trim off the excess. We're just going to wrap the hackle. Try to get your thread to the bottom of the post. Now, the tighter you got your thread wraps around your post, the easier this is going to be. The post should be nice and stiff. And we're going to wrap thread wraps down from the top of the post down to the bottom. Tying them off. When I'm tying this, I'm trying to keep as many fibers on the, well, for this view, on the right side of my thread. So keeping it really close. You don't want to trap all those fibers and have them pointing down. Trim that off. I'm going to whip finish this fly again. This takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's not like you need a bigger whip finisher. My standard one works just fine for this. Again, trying to keep your thread below the hackle fibers to keep them sitting flat, not being forced down towards the water, if that makes sense. If you want to add a little bit of head cement here, you can. Trim off any fibers that are pointing down towards the water, like I had mentioned earlier. Trim off our post, and that's pretty much the Klinkhammer. So, like I said earlier, great fly, one of my favorite flies. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.